Hey everybody. I'm sure as you can tell by the sound of my voice that I'm feeling a little under the weather. Apparently I have some virus named after a Mexican beer that I've never heard of before, but people keep telling me it's been going around for the last couple years. Anyway, Joel and I didn't have a chance to record a new episode this week, so what we're doing is we're opening up the archives, and we're bringing you an episode from our original run of episodes starting back in 2017. Since Valentine's Day is tomorrow, we decided that it'd be pretty fitting to go ahead and re-release one of our old Valentine's Day episodes. So without further ado, enjoy the sounds of Joel and I in our much younger years.
Iconoblast! We put the past on blast! Hit them with the truth, with things you never knew. Nobody is safe, no thing to place. Got Joel and Coop with history in your face. Iconoblast!
Hypocrisy knows no bounds.
You have nothing on me.
Oh, I got a lot of shit on you.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Certainly. What have I got to lose?
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Welcome to the Iconoblast podcast, the show that takes a look behind the public facades of famous icons to show why you can never take anything at face value. So, what corporate holiday has the highest suicide rate and heavily contributes to the perpetuation of child slavery on the Ivory Coast? Valentine's Day. And that's what today's show is all about. Woohoo! My name is Cooper, and with me to share the love and joy of this special day is award-winning cinematographer Joel Hodge.
Hello, here I am. I'm here.
Back once again. So, we haven't released an episode since the 18th? Of last month?
Yeah, it's been kind of a while.
Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. We've had a whole lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
We have been working on ideas and outlines for upcoming episodes, which I think are going to be pretty cool. We've got a Vikings episode that's going to be coming up, which I'm really excited about. I think that one's going to be a ton of fun. We're also going to be talking about like sports icons like Mike Tyson, Tom Brady.
What effect sports icons have on the world and all that stuff.
They have a huge amount of influence, and the stuff that they get away with just because they're so good at what they do.
Yeah.
It seems like that's really kind of how it is in most industries, is if you're good at your job, it doesn't matter what else you do.
Then you get to beat people up and get away with it.
Oh, we're also going to be talking about animal cruelty, which is going to be fun.
I wanted to... I think we should do an episode on that because I just listened to a recent episode of the Joe Rogan podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked with this guy named Phil Demers, I think is how you say his name.
Demers, something like that.
He used to work for Marineland, which is like a smaller version of SeaWorld.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about all the fucked up shit that they do
to
the animals.
I haven't even had the heart to watch Blackfish because everybody I talked to was like, oh, I cried so hard. And I'm like, oh, I'm way more sensitive than the average person, so they would probably kill me.
Yeah, yeah. I know we've talked about this a lot, or the world has, like SeaWorld especially. Has a lot of heat, but he had a lot of specific
pulled that fucking awesome stunt where he climbed up on a billboard and wrote SeaWorld sucks or something like that. He climbed on a construction crane that was like higher than a skyscraper and put a giant sign up that said that. But anyway, it was super interesting, and I thought that doing an episode on animals that are icons might be, that's a good idea.
You know, like that's a cool twist, kind of. Instead of it being a human, it's a fucking whale or something like that.
You know that the movie Milo and Otis?
Love that movie.
They killed so many animals.
No, for real?
Yeah.
Was that before the laws?
I want to say that was the film that created some of those laws because
that was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid.
Because it's such a good movie because the animals are so cute, but they went through like multiple puppies and kittens. So it's not the same.
Multiple Milo and Otises?
Multiple Milos and Otises.
They killed pugs?
Yep. Well, I mean, they didn't do it on purpose. It was just through negligence. So, I mean,
they did
still
it for
shitty.
A movie, so it's kind of on purpose.
I mean, it's nowhere near movies like Cannibal Ferox or...
Well, did you see that thing? I mean, Uma Thurman's not an animal. But
did you
the
watch
crash? The crash?
That was...
Some crazy shit.
When I first started watching the video, I was like, oh, she's talking about getting permanently injured. Oh, this probably isn't going to be that bad. She just
nails that tree.
Oh, man. And her face just smashes into the steering wheel.
Yeah, it looks like she nails that steering wheel.
Whatever camera rig they were using was solid.
Yeah, that
like
thing didn't even change the frame.
Has
he come out and said anything about it?
Yeah, he actually said that it was like one of
out.
his biggest regrets in filmmaking is that he told her that it was going to be safe, and he felt like he really betrayed her trust.
Yeah.
I've noticed that I've been talking for a little while now, and I've only been getting interrupted half as much.
Yeah, I've noticed that I haven't been interrupted yet. There's something different.
Nobody's gotten mad at you yet.
I'm not in trouble.
Bailey's not here. Oh, no. How are we going to make this work?
I don't know.
Wait,
We're lost.
Joel, you're a dick.
Oh, okay. I feel a lot better now.
It feels a little bit. It's still not quite right, but better. Okay, cat's out of the bag. Bailey's not on this episode because she's too busy being a movie star or a TV star or something. I don't care.
she
not on this show, so I don't care what it is.
So Bailey moved back home to Nashville. She's
Tennessee?
Yep. And she's going to stay there for a few months for a pilot season.
Oh, she's doing that down in Atlanta, I think.
Atlanta. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, pilot for people who aren't in the know, pilot season is when it's legal to actually shoot down commercial airliners.
No, pilot season is when they like all the new TV shows that are going to come out next year, they start casting and getting crew.
Well, it's
for
that.
A bunch of pilots
it's that too.
To try to...
In the film industry, that's what it is.
Yeah. So Bailey is out there for the next few months trying to become famous, and we wish her the best of luck.
We do, and she's not gone for good. She's going to be doing call-ins whenever she can, and full episodes when she's available. If she gets picked up by a TV show, then obviously she's going to be a little busy.
Yeah,
but
we might not ever hear from her again.
Yeah, she'll be too famous for us. Not like, famous like we are. She'll be real famous. Bailey, we miss you. We hope the best for you, but we kind of wish that
you would just stay here.
Yeah.
Please answer our phone calls.
Yeah, not answering any of my phone calls. I've called her like 15 or 20 times, like 2:33 in the morning. Not a single response. Well, I guess we could go ahead and start the meat and potatoes of the episode.
Yeah,
talking about Valentine's Day.
Oh, the best day in the year.
Yeah, it's a day. I'll give you that much. It's a day of the year.
It is a day of the year.
It is very much a day of the year. Have you ever had a notable Valentine's Day? I haven't celebrated it since the first time I celebrated it.
No, Valentine's Day is like my worst holiday. It's my bottom of the list. I'd rather go visit the girlfriend's family for Christmas and spend a week with the family.
That's saying something.
With any family, than spend one day doing traditional Valentine's Day shit. I hate it.
Yeah, I was into it at one point in high school, but I learned pretty quick that Valentine's Day doesn't generally work out for me.
Yeah, it's Valentine's Day today.
Yeah.
And I'm working instead of going out with my girlfriend, so she's going to be real mad at me.
Yeah, I'm sitting here recording a podcast with somebody who rejected my Valentine. So it's not that fun for me either.
Wait, so what happened in high school?
I was a little bit of a hopeless romantic growing up. I think nowadays it's called a beta male. So I was dating this girl in high school. We were together for a couple months. I met her over Christmas break, and we'd hang out every weekend. I eventually ended up meeting her parents. I think I was like 15, 16 years. I think I had just turned 16.
What is that? Junior year? Sophomore year?
It was my sophomore year.
Yeah.
So sophomore year of high school.
How did you get to her house? Did you have your mom drop you off? Or?
No, the reason I know I was 16 is because the first date we ever went on, I drove. So it was just after I got my license. Oh yeah, it was big pimping. I was driving a Mazda B2000, 1986.
You had a car in high school?
Yeah, well, it was a truck that we had in the family for years and years, and awesome. I took over. I loved that truck. I'd still drive it if I had it.
That's how long did you have it?
At least 4 years.
Man, that did
4 years, 5 years.
My first car was a Lincoln Fifth Avenue, a big old grandma car. And I got it when I was in high school. I think I was a senior, and I crashed it in 4 days. I was cool for 4 days. Gave my friends a ride home, and then I got T-boned in an intersection. That was it.
Wait, it wasn't even your fault?
It's a long story. But short version was, as I was in the left lane, I was in the left turn lane at intersection, making a left, And from my perspective, someone ran a red light and hit me as I was turning. Now that I'm older, I probably just turned, not knowing what the fuck I was doing.
Oh.
But my friend was in the car at the time, and right when we stopped, when the crash ended, I was like, "Get out and pretend you were on the side of the road and say it wasn't my fault." And he did, and it worked. Yeah, but the car was still totaled, and the person that hit us didn't have insurance or some shit. It was my grandma's car, and she was mad at me, and all. It was long.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it sucked. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. It just reminded me. I'm remembering those days. You said high school and going to your girlfriend's house, and like having to figure out how to get there and stuff. Like,
yeah,
my mom would we would walk. I'd walk to her house, and she lived like an hour from the school, and then my mom would pick me up on her way home from work. From my girlfriend's house. Pretty funny.
Well, see, I had it really easy because I never had a girlfriend in high school.
Wait, but you had a Valentine?
Well, I'll tell you the story. So I was dating this girl in high school, and after we had been hanging out for, like I said, we met over Christmas break. So
what was her name? You can say.
Well, she doesn't. Her name was Natalie. She doesn't listen to the show.
What was she?
She was a girl. She's real, though.
I'm trying to feel the vibe here. I'm trying to get details of the story, Coop. Let us in.
Okay, so if you want some more details, so we had started dating because we both worked at the same Quiznos together.
Ooh. I hate Quiznos, actually.
Really? Oh, that's still... I wish that there was a Quiznos around here.
I had a couple bad experiences.
I worked there for years, and I ate a sandwich there almost every single day. Thinking back, that might be why I was single all through high school. I was a bit chubby.
Well, did you wear your Quiznos uniform to school?
Everybody always told me that chicks dig a guy in uniform.
Yeah. Well,
they don't specify what uniform, though.
Yeah. Was she in high school, or was she the owner?
No, she was in high school.
Sorry.
So anyway, we'd been dating for a couple weeks, and I asked her out for Valentine's Day, and she said yes, and I went all out because I was working at a Quiznos, so I was obviously pulling in some pretty good scratch.
Yeah.
But I also didn't have any rent to pay because I was living with my parents, so I was able to put all that money away. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So on Valentine's Day, before I went over to pick her up, I bought a dozen roses, which cost me like somewhere between $50 and $70. When I went in to buy them, I was thinking like, oh, they can't be more than like $1 a piece. This will be like $12, no problem.
Yeah.
No, that's not the case. Especially if you buy it on Valentine's Day, they're marked up so much.
Oh,
It's ridiculous.
Wait, so you go? Where did you go? A flower shop?
Oh yeah, I went to a flower shop. I was living over in Santa Barbara at the time, and I went to a flower shop on State Street.
Nice.
Which is like the main street.
I'm trying to picture it. That's why I'm sorry I'm asking so many questions, but I'm a visual person, so I want to see it. So I see you in your Quiznos uniform.
No, if I actually remember what I was wearing that day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. So I was wearing what I thought was like my Sunday best. I mean, not like a suit or anything like that, but I was wearing
your nicest clothes.
Yeah, I was wearing a black suede jacket. I was wearing a like shimmery silver button-down shirt.
Whoa.
God awful thing. It was like a bowling shirt, but it was made out of a silk material. And I was wearing white cargo pants. So I was rocking it, man.
That's some 90s shit.
I was a good looking kid. Unfortunately, this was in the 2000s. So
wait, so you're walking in. You're 15. Did you have a mustache?
I was 16.
Yet? You're 16. Did you have a mustache yet?
I couldn't grow a mustache until I was about 30. That's why I grew one.
So nothing there? So baby face?
Yeah,
not
baby
even
face.
A couple little pubes or nothing like that?
Actual pubes? Yeah, a few.
Nice. Good for you. I didn't have pubes.
So besides paying way too much for some roses, I also borrowed my parents' Ford Explorer because I wanted something real nice to show up in. And I took her to the fanciest place that I could afford, which was Outback Steakhouse. It's got steakhouse in the title, so it's fancy.
That's good. What is it that's really good there? Like they have like the cheesy fries?
No, bloomin' onion is what's really popular. We got one of those and it was all right. I got a cut of the prime rib and it was fucking terrible.
Anyway, continue.
Okay, where did I?
So wait, you got the flowers.
I got
you picked her up in the Explorer.
Mm-hmm.
In Mama's Explorer.
Yep.
And now you're heading to Outback Steakhouse.
We're on our way to Outback Steakhouse. So
nice. So wait, are you guys in your outfits for this?
No, we didn't go to dinner in our Quiznos uniforms.
No, I mean, did you dress up? Oh, you did dress up. You told me. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in my fanciest duds.
What was she wearing?
That I honestly can't remember.
You can't remember what she was wearing? I thought you liked her.
I remember everything up to the date, and then I've mentally blocked out the actual events of the rest of the night.
Oh, this is a bad story.
Oh yeah, it's a terrible story. I've only celebrated Valentine's Day once, and I was like, I'm not doing this again.
And this is the story.
Yeah, this is
All
the
right,
story.
Continue. I'm sorry I keep interrupting.
That's what you're here for. So we had a fairly uneventful dinner. I gave her the flowers when I picked her up from her house, and she carried them with her to the restaurant. And when we got to the restaurant, she just set them on one of the chairs at the table. Yeah. And after we finish eating our dinner, the waiter comes over to clear all the plates. And before he takes all the plates away, she's like, "Oh, hold on one second." And she picks up the bouquet and sets it in her half-eaten meal and just lets the waiter take it away to throw it away.
Wait, what do you mean? Was she not having fun, or?
No, I mean, that wasn't.
She's 15 too, right?
She was 16. I think she was like a few months older than me.
So she knows that those are supposed to be like a thing you keep?
I don't know. Maybe she was just oblivious, because it wasn't the last time that we hung out.
She didn't want to carry them?
I guess. Just, what am I going to do with these? And gave them to the waiter, and the waiter threw them away.
You didn't say anything?
No, I
should have been like, "That's $50 fucking motherfucker." You know how much $50 is when you're in high school with a minimum wage job? That's a video game.
Yeah, that's what I spent
like
most of my money on.
That's 2 weeks of work.
So yeah, she just put the bouquet of flowers on her half-eaten meal, and the waiter took it and walked away. So that kind of hurt my feelings. But a couple weeks later, we were hanging out with a group of my friends that they were meeting her for the first time.
Yeah.
And I introduced her as my girlfriend, and she didn't say anything about it at first, but when we were driving back, she was like, "So you called me your girlfriend back there?" And I was like, "Yeah, aren't you my girlfriend?" She's like, I didn't really think that we were dating."
Wait, so you asked her on a date for Valentine's Day, but you never asked her to be your girlfriend?
I didn't know that I thought that once you started dating somebody, you were boyfriend and girlfriend. I didn't realize there was a distinction between the two.
Well,
she taught me that.
It depends on the person, I guess. But
well, she was a few months older than me, so she was older, more mature woman. Yeah, I knew a lot more than me.
So, that sucks, dude.
What about you? Do you have any good Valentine's Day stories?
Man, I really don't. Like, I have made it a mission not to ever fall for Valentine's Day.
Don't get sucked into that trap. It's terrible.
I mean, I've bought, you buy the little heart-shaped chocolate box, and you get flowers or whatever. I've done that, but that's about as far as it goes.
Well, let's start off by talking about a few other notable events that happened on Valentine's Day.
All right.
Obviously, I had my heart broken on Valentine's Day at one point.
Which is the most important thing.
Which is the most important one.
So you haven't celebrated since, and you're just a general down, depressed guy.
Yeah, it ruined my entire life. It turned me into a podcaster. So on Valentine's Day in 2005, that marked the official release of YouTube.
That happened in 2005?
Yeah, I thought it was actually older than that.
Yeah, it seems like it's just kind of always been around.
Yeah, it's become such a staple of every day that...
Yeah, but that timeless. Like before that, there wasn't video on the internet pretty much. Like you could download a video, but it would take fucking forever. There wasn't like streaming video really before that. Yeah,
and if you wanted to see the video, you kind of just had to know where to go.
Yeah.
To go and watch it. So viral videos were a lot harder to spread around before YouTube. Well, yeah, YouTube officially launched on February 14th, 2005. It was created by 3 former PayPal employees, Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Jawad Karim. And, like, no joke, the next year after it launched, Google bought it for $1.65 billion. That's insane. Billion with a B.
It was out for 1 year?
1 year.
Now, look at the world now. Before 2005, there wasn't any streaming media like Netflix and HBO Now and all those services like Hulu and shit.
Oh,
like,
yeah. So we have YouTube to thank to a certain point for
that was kind of
all
the first
streaming
one.
stuff. Yeah. Another special event that happened, Valentine's Day is also the anniversary of one of the most impressive pictures ever taken, which is known as the pale blue dot. So, taken in 1990, the image shows the Earth from a distance of 3.7 billion miles.
Damn.
That's 6 billion kilometers, or more than 40 times the distance from the sun to Earth.
If the photo's real.
Are you a flat earther?
No, I'm not.
Are you one of the people that doesn't believe in NASA?
I believe in NASA, but I know that they fake photos sometimes.
I've seen some pretty convincing evidence of fake photos.
Yeah. I'm not saying that they're not all real, but I'm saying that they for sure... Like, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a photographer, I'm a cinematographer. Mm-hmm. I color correct photos, I edit photos, and you can tell. Especially if you go to some of the older ones.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you look at older posts or, like, news reports, or you go back to, like, the late 90s and 2000s, early 2000s, they, like, literally post these shitty photoshopped Earth shots and say that they're real photos, and they're, not, and they're, like, for sure not. There's even, like, clone stamps of clouds and shit in the photo.
Well, back to the pale blue dot photo. It was taken by the Voyager 1, and the Voyager 1 is a space probe that was launched on September 5th, 1977, and it holds the record for the farthest man-made object from Earth, if it exists. As of 2018, it has been in operation for 40 years and traveled over 13 billion miles, or 21 billion kilometers.
Damn.
It's been out there for a long time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So something else that I thought was pretty interesting that happened on Valentine's Day was in 1876. On February 14th, 1876, the first patent for the telephone was submitted, but it was submitted by two different people. Most people know Alexander Graham Bell as the inventor of the telephone, but he wasn't the only one to submit a patent for the device on Valentine's Day that year. It's either Alicia or Elisha. Elisha Gray was an American engineer who co-founded Western Electric, which is a company that would later become part of AT&T. It was one of the core pieces that came together to form what we know as AT&T now.
Yeah.
On the same day that Bell filed his patent for improvement in telegraphy, that's what he called his, Gray filed what is known as a patent caveat for transmitting human voices through a telegraph circuit. So a patent caveat is a sort of a placeholder signifying someone's intent to submit a more detailed patent at a later date. But since Alexander Graham Bell's patent was more detailed, the courts eventually ruled in his favor, which secured his place in history as the father of modern communication.
Was Alicia a chick? Sounds like a...
No, it was a
woman.
It was a dude. I don't know what he identified as, but he looked like a guy.
He got schooled by Alexander Graham.
Yep, old Alex Grammy.
By Alicia.
So a less positive event that happened in Chicago on Valentine's Day in 1929 was the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Ooh. So 7 men, including...
I love massacres.
Oh, me too. They're so much fun. 7 men, including 5 members of the North Side Gang, led by Bugs Moran. Bugs Moran wasn't there for the massacre, but the North Side Gang was led by Bugs Moran. Were lined up inside a garage at 2122 North Clark Street and gunned down by 4 men with pistols and Tommy guns.
Damn.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. The pictures are pretty bloody. The group was tricked into the garage by a pair of men in police uniforms. The cops stopped the men on the street and ordered them inside at gunpoint. Once inside, the fake officers ordered the men to line up and face the wall. 2 more men entered the room with submachine guns and opened fire.
Damn.
Just wasted all of them.
For what?
It was a turf war. Yeah. It was actually Al Capone's gang that were behind the killings, and I think it was either in revenge or it was a territory dispute, something.
Some gangster shit.
The real gangster shit. When the dust settled, all but one of the men lay dead. The survivor was Frank Gusenberg, who had been shot 14 times.
Dang. And was alive?
He was still alive. 14 times, and he was still alive. So
I already like him.
Once he got to the hospital later, the real police attempted to question him. And being a gangster to the core, Frank replied, "No one shot me," and died 3 hours later. He wouldn't even rat out the guys that killed him.
That's fucking badass.
Yeah.
He's got 14 bullet holes in him, and he says that no one shot him.
Yeah.
I wasn't shot. I fell down some stairs.
I fell down some stairs.
Yeah. Who is this guy? This Frank? Was it? How do you say
Frank
it?
Gusenberg?
Gusenberg.
Gusenberg. He's been portrayed in TV shows and movies. He was in Roger Corman's movie St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Oh, they made a movie about that.
Yeah. And he was also in the 1975 film Capone. He's also the inspiration for a Simpsons character, Johnny Tightlips, and he's known for not giving away any information, no matter how trivial it is, which is really fitting for Gusenberg.
Yeah, that's fucking badass.
Also, Grand Theft Auto 5, the Thompson submachine gun, the machine gun is called the Gusenberg Sweeper.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he wasn't a good guy.
What year was
this? It happened in 1929.
God, I wish he knew. That he like a gun's named after him in like the biggest selling video game of all time.
He'd be so proud.
So sweet.
Then he'd go over and rob Rockstar. Pay him have him pay protection money.
I think that's pretty awesome. And like for me, if I could die knowing something like that was going to happen to me.
Yeah.
Like if you did something so badass that you know that people
they're naming stuff after you.
In the year 2018 are talking about you.
Yeah.
And you're just a gangster that said I wasn't shot when you were shot.
Yeah,
for sure.
No one shot me.
That's awesome.
I think the most tragic event to occur on Valentine's Day is the death of James Bond.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, not the fictional spy. But
James Bond died on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, not the spy. The ornithologist who was the namesake of the spy.
What's an ornithologist?
Birdwatcher, pretty much. Someone who's into birds.
Wait, so the real James Bond's a fucking birdwatcher?
Yeah, well, Bond the Birdwatcher was a well-known scholar responsible for writing the book Birds of the West Indies in 1936, and from what I hear, it was a real page-turner.
He's a birdwatcher and book writer about watching birds, James Bond.
Or you could say he's an ornithologist and author, if you have the vocabulary for it. Anyway... So it was Birds of the West Indies that the author Ian Fleming happened to be reading while lounging on a beach in Jamaica. So Fleming had been stricken with writer's block, finding it difficult to create a name for the lead character of his book, Casino Royale, which is the first James Bond book. His inspiration came when he looked at the name on the sleeve of the book he was reading, which said James Bond.
Wow.
According to Fleming, quote, "It struck me that this brief, unromantic, Anglo-Saxon, and yet very masculine name was just what I needed."
So he just ripped off someone's name entirely.
Yeah, well, he didn't do it without permission, though. Fleming actually contacted the author and asked for permission to use his name for his new character, which the real James Bond enthusiastically replied, "Sure, whatever." He just didn't care. He never
give
cared.
A shit. He's like, dude, I like birds.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about movies.
Write a book about a bird, and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that, the most prolific government-funded sexual predator in literary history was born.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of, what's your favorite James Bond movie?
That's a good question. If people are gonna fucking hate me. They're gonna hate me for saying this because Roger Moore is one of my favorite James Bonds.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I'm sorry. Those are the first James Bond movies that I saw were the Roger Moore ones, and I want to say that.
Do you actually think they're the best? They might be your favorite, but do you think they're the best ones?
The best ones, people are going to hate me for this too. The ones that I like the most are the Daniel Craig ones.
God damn it.
I mean, the Sean Connery was good.
Yeah.
He kicked some ass. I don't know. I just like.
You know what? I have to say the new ones are fucking awesome.
I like Daniel Craig as James Bond.
Casino Royale is one of my favorite ones.
Casino Royale was
newest one.
Yeah, it was
Casino
definitely
Royale.
the best out of the was it 3 or 4 at this point?
3, I think.
Yeah, it's my.
I didn't like the most recent one very much.
I couldn't.
Kind of slow.
Spectre, I think it's called. I couldn't sit all the way through it. It's the only one that I haven't finished watching.
Yeah, I did like the scene with what's her name though. Anyway,
in which movie? Because that happens in multiple times in every single movie.
Yeah, but they've been toning it down. That's something interesting to talk about. Is what they're going to do with James Bond.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to make that. Well, no, I don't think it'll be.
You can already see it in Spectre. Like if you watch it, thinking about it, and like seeing how they changed it, he's not an asshole anymore.
Well, even in Casino Royale, I was going to say he at least falls in love with one girl, but that happens in every single movie.
Yeah, he falls in love, but he can't stay with them.
Yeah, for one reason or another.
Yeah,
generally his sex addiction.
Yeah, but I mean, my actual favorite, it's not the best, but my favorite is the GoldenEye one.
Oh,
Pierce Brosnan.
GoldenEye is pretty good.
He's not the best James Bond. I think Sean Connery is the best James Bond. I think Casino Royale was the best made James Bond movie, but my favorite is GoldenEye.
GoldenEye was good. I really liked it, and the game was awesome.
Oh yeah, the GoldenEye game is like one of the best games
good
for that time period. It was like why you should buy a N64 was to play GoldenEye. GoldenEye was so much fun. So many nights playing that with my friends.
Oh yeah, like hours and hours and hours, and then arguing over people using Odd Job and
you couldn't be the short. That was because he was short.
Yeah.
Didn't you say something about how the multiplayer was like a last minute thing?
Yeah, the multiplayer was actually designed and programmed by one person, and it was a last minute addition. It was the last thing added into the game. Yeah, by far. I mean, it laid the groundwork for God knows how many games afterwards.
Yeah.
It laid the groundwork for professional gaming, that's for sure.
But anyway, GoldenEye the movie, great.
It is good. If you're one of the many, many lonely Americans with nobody to spend this nonsense holiday with, congratulations. You just avoided becoming one of the idiots who paid a ridiculous markup for a few of the 100 million roses shipped from overseas, causing 9,000 metric tons of CO2 to be released into the atmosphere every year.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a lot. And I was one of those people when I was 16 years old, but I grew up. So grow up, America. Stop buying roses. They're worthless. Besides saving money and reducing your carbon footprint, you also missed out on contributing to child slavery, among other things. So let's start picking apart this stupid cash grab of a holiday and show why it's better to be sad and alone.
That sounded very personal, Coop. Is something wrong?
Mind your own damn business.
Actually, I know what's wrong because I heard your Valentines Day story.
You know exactly what's wrong now.
That still bothers you?
I had my heart broken. No, I got over it last year. It's 6 months ago.
You're not going to do anything for Valentine's Day?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Me neither.
I'm going to be too busy.
Yep.
I've got so much stuff going on. You don't even know. So much, just stuff
so
all the
busy.
time. So busy. So many things to do.
So many activities.
So many activities on Valentine's Day. While many people incorrectly believe Christmas is the most wonderful time of year to off themselves, think again. Suicide season in America coincidentally begins on February 14th and continues until April. It is during these months calls to the suicide prevention hotlines and reports of suicide increase drastically. It's a major spike. Big spike in suicides around that time.
Everyone realizes how alone they are.
It's actually many different factors come into play when explaining the suicide surge that occurs during spring, besides weather-related issues like seasonal affective disorder, which it's ironically abbreviated to SAD, sad. The societal pressure on individuals to find love is also a contributing factor. Many see being alone on or around Valentine's Day as a sign that they are less desirable than their peers, because they are. If you're single, it's because nobody wants to be with you. You sad. No, that's not true.
I don't know.
You just haven't found somebody that appreciates you yet. Even those in relationships aren't safe from Valentine's Day. Relationship troubles are the second leading cause of suicide attempts, trailing closely behind financial insecurity.
Fuck.
Unrealistic expectations of the holiday perpetuated by the media places increased stress on relationships, often leading to couples splitting up. So it's also one of the most common times of year for people to break up.
The holiday that's supposed to help
is horrible.
It actually ruins a lot of shit.
It ruins relationships, and it makes lonely people kill themselves. Another contributing factor is Takotsubo cardiomyopathy.
What the hell
Did I
is
say
that?
Takotsubo cardiomyopathy.
What
Simply
is that? Yeah.
broken heart syndrome. That's what it's called. Broken heart syndrome. This is a very real and very common syndrome which can mimic the effects of a heart attack. So
BHS.
Yeah, BHS. I got a major case of BHS, man.
Yeah.
So
Me too, have been farting all morning.
That's IBS.
Oh.
According to the Mayo Clinic, quote, in broken heart syndrome, there's a temporary disruption of your heart's normal pumping function in one area. The remainder of the heart functions normally or even with more forceful contractions. So it makes it feel like you're having a heart attack. You're so sad that it's actually causing,
like having a heart attack.
Yeah, it's like having a heart attack, and it can kill people. People
kind of like anxiety attacks and shit.
Yeah, I think I have pretty severe anxiety attacks, but I don't think it's ever been life-threatening for me. But broken heart syndrome can actually cause people to die.
Yeah,
I think that's what killed Johnny Cash. June Carter.
He lost his wife.
Yeah, June Carter died, and not very long later he ended up dying. Or I mean, it could be all the drugs that he did over his life, or the fact that he was old.
Loved her.
But yeah, he loved her. He wanted to be with her. If you still feel the need to find love, knowing the dangers that come along with it, you can actually get the same experience without a romantic partner. You just need to smoke a little crack.
Ooh. Drugs.
Good old crack. So, scientists studying the effects of love on the human brain have found a disturbing similarity to that of drug use. According to the nerds that study this type of stuff, love occurs in 3 stages, each with a different evolutionary purpose. Stage 1 is lust, or erotic passion, and this is the urge to bump uglies with your crush. So this stage is primarily driven by the hormones testosterone and estrogen to encourage reproduction.
Like instinct shit.
Yeah.
The manly stuff. Since forever, like cavemen. Like,
oh, yeah, since as long as...
Is that a true thing? Like, cavemen would hit women over the head with a freaking weapon and drag them back to the cave?
I don't think that they would.
It might not be that exact thing, but that has to come from something.
Well, I highly doubt that early humans had developed the idea of consent. It was probably might makes right.
Yeah, but so, I wonder if the women were bigger back then than the men.
They had to be.
Yeah.
They had to be able to.
It might have been the women that were whipping the dudes' asses.
Because the stronger the women were, the stronger the men had to be to overpower them and have their way.
Yeah.
Because cavemen were a bunch of filthy fucking rapists.
Yeah, and in nature in general, it seems like the female species is always stronger with animals and stuff.
Yeah,
like black widows,
spiders.
So watch out, cavemen.
Yeah,
ladies are coming for you.
Stage 2 of love is attraction, which encompasses the desire to spend time with your mate outside of sex. It's during this stage that the brain is flooded with chemicals resulting in all the pleasant sensations that we associate with love, or crack cocaine.
Crack, yeah.
So first is dopamine, which is responsible for the euphoric feeling when you look at an object of your attraction, or if you smoke crack. Next is norepinephrine, which stimulates the production of adrenaline, and this causes the increased heart rate and butterflies in the stomach sensation associated with new love or smoking crack. Alongside dopamine and norepinephrine is the chemical serotonin. Now, serotonin plays a large factor in determining mood and appetite. Brain analysis of people in early stages of love have almost identical serotonin levels to those with obsessive-compulsive disorder. So not only crackheads, with obsessive-compulsive people. This causes the strong fixation common in the beginning of most relationships, as well as the urge to take things apart or clean them when you're on crack.
Yeah, that's that instinct again.
Crack?
Yeah. Just all those chemicals. It's like how to keep the species going.
Even bonding with someone, that's... there's chemicals involved with that to make sure that, yeah, after we have a child, we don't just go like, oh, what the hell is that, and throw it away.
Right.
Like we should do.
Isn't that what they say to do is, as a human race, we're trying to be less instinctive and more conscious?
Yeah.
Under that theory, we should be killing our kids.
Going against our instincts.
Yeah. That
would separate us from the animals.
We wouldn't have a population problem either.
Yeah, if you want to be the next stage after vegan, kill your kids. That's the next stage of evolution.
Yeah.
Stage 3 is attachment, which involves spending most of your time in sweatpants and holding your significant other's head under the blankets after you fart. And this is the most important part of the cycle after sex, as far as evolution, like as far as reproduction goes.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're not going to have kids if you don't have sex, but you're not going to be able to raise those kids and support those kids without some sort of chemical that is going to make you bond with them or your mate.
And that chemical comes out of the farts.
Yeah, that's how you make somebody fall in love with you, is you hold their head
them under the blanket. Yeah. I didn't know this, but that's what keeps Neely around. Interesting.
So the chemical responsible is oxytocin, which is the same chemical produced to develop a bond between a parent and child, or crackhead and crack. Another chemical that plays a large part in both love and crack is how do I pronounce this? Phenylethylamine, or PEA. I'm going to call it PEA. That's a lot simpler.
Where do they get these names? God, that shit's
scientists want to sound smart, and you need big fancy words to sound smart.
If they named them just PEA or whatever, we would know what the drugs are, and there wouldn't be a reason for doctors.
That's exactly. It's a racket. It's just one big racket trying to get our hard-earned money. During the beginning stages of a relationship, the body produces large quantities of PEA, which results in dizziness and increased physical and emotional energy. Besides crack and love, another source of PEA is none other than chocolate. Yeah, so if you're not in love and you want to be in love, eat a bunch of chocolate and smoke some crack. Don't smoke the crack first, because then you're not going to want to eat the chocolate. So eat a bunch of chocolate, smoke some crack,
eat chocolate,
boom, you're in love.
Crack, jerk off.
Yeah, you just got all of the benefits of a relationship
without all the hassle.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some downsides to it, but there's downsides to being in relationships.
What's the downside?
I mean, you could become a crackhead. You can get diabetes. You can chafe
a relationship
yourself.
Those are the same downsides to being in a relationship.
So it's exactly like being in a relationship. Eat chocolate, smoke crack, and play with yourself. And congratulations, you're in a one-person relationship. And randomly start fights with yourself also. And
well, the crack will make you do that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Lots of crackheads in my neighborhood out there.
Lots of people in love, you mean?
I mean, in love. Yeah. They're in love.
They're not crackheads. They're lovebirds.
Oh.
Americans spent $18.2 billion in 2017 and $19.7 billion the year before that on Valentine's Day. Around $448 million is spent on candy, and almost 60 million pounds of chocolate are purchased between the 7th and the 14th of February each year. And all that chocolate has to come from somewhere, and that somewhere is from poor, abused, unpaid children.
Fuck.
Chocolate is made from the cacao bean, which is more commonly known as cocoa. Harvesting and processing these beans is time-consuming manual labor, which can be expensive and dangerous. Large companies like Hershey's, Mars, and Nestle need a cheap, expendable, and easily renewable workforce to keep overhead costs down. The shining beacons of business ethics that they are, they know that there's nothing cheaper and more easily renewable than unpaid child labor.
That's fucked.
Yeah, it's real messed up.
Do you know what country they do this in?
It's on the Ivory Coast, like West Africa generally.
So Africa produces most of our chocolate?
They produce 70% of our chocolate, and that makes up 60% of their revenue each year. With average farmers making only $2 per day, they have to do anything in their power to keep costs low, even if that means kidnapping children and forcing them into slavery.
So they're like, for me to make any money, I got to get some slaves.
I got to get some people that'll work for free.
But Nestle's going to turn their face to that.
Mm-hmm. Some children end up on farms after following the promise of well-paying work. Others are kidnapped or outright sold by their relatives who are unaware of the dangerous and unpaid work they will be performing. So the farmers will buy children, and they'll tell the parents or relatives, whoever the caregiver is, they'll be like, no, you don't have the money to take care of this kid. Let me take him. I'll teach him a trade. I'll feed him. I'll pay him. They'll have a much better life with me. But most children who end up on farms never see their families again.
Dude, this shit is like verbatim what I'm learning on this Peru project that I've been doing.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to get deep into this. We'll save that for another episode. It's just all these stats are like the exact same with children's slavery in Peru for coca leaves to make cocaine. It's like the exact same thing.
So
they do the same thing. They buy people's kids. They put them in the jungle as slaves, working for free, just picking coca leaves all day, every day.
The cartels that are supplying the world's cocaine use the same techniques as the farmers that supply the world's chocolate.
Yeah. So that is insane to me, because basically eating chocolate's the same as doing cocaine. You're damaging the world the same exact way.
Yeah.
That's insane. You have to find out which chocolate isn't made by those big companies, which is hard to do.
The kids on the farms, they generally range from 12 to 16 years old, and 40% of them are female. Investigators have even found children as young as 5 performing manual labor on these farms from sunrise until sunset. Yeah. 5 years old. My nephew's 5 years old.
Yeah.
And
can you imagine that?
The work would be difficult and dangerous for adults, but it's especially so for humans whose motor skills are still in the process of developing. The daily chores include clearing new areas for planting, climbing trees to retrieve the pods, and dragging burlap sacks filled with beans that often weigh over 100 pounds through the forest. Picture your average...
This is so crazy. This is like sorry, I keep talking about this Peru thing.
Oh,
but it's the exact fucking story. Anyway, go ahead.
No, it's crazy. Yeah, I've got a quote from one of the former victims. This was a girl that was actually able to escape. It says, "Some of the bags were taller than me. It took 2 people to put the bags on my head. And if you don't move fast enough, you were beaten."
It's way easier that way.
This episode is a bummer for so many more reasons than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a fun Valentine's Day special.
I'm capping it off with some fun stuff. We got fun information.
We're going
at the
deep
end.
into child slavery. This is gnarly, dude.
Yeah. Well, along with the frequent beatings, the children are given just enough food to keep them working, generally nothing more than corn paste and bananas. At the end of the day, they're locked inside wooden shacks where they sleep on the floor with no cushions or blankets.
Yeah.
Besides sleep deprivation and malnutrition, the children are also frequently exposed to hazardous equipment and chemicals. Chainsaws and machetes are common tools, leaving most children with scars or missing appendages. I shouldn't be laughing when I say scarred children or children with missing appendages.
I'm sorry. That's my fault. Because I said machete.
It still reflects poorly on me. Well, they also have pesticides. The pesticides, which they apply to the bean pods without any form of protection, are highly carcinogenic, leaving them at risk for reproductive issues and cancer. So besides working for free and handling dangerous tools all day from
they're also surrounded by poison.
They're also breathing poison all the time.
Yeah.
So even if you get out, you're probably going to have cancer. If you don't get cancer, you can't have kids.
Yeah, and probably have some sort of brain damage or...
Yeah. Thanks for the chocolate, though.
Not to mention the trauma of
this chocolate's real tasty. But you want to know probably the most depressing thing? None of the children forced into slavery will ever even eat chocolate.
They ship the beans somewhere else.
Yeah, and I highly doubt that a 12-year-old that's working for free is going to be able to afford a bar of chocolate. That has to be imported at that point. When asked what they would like to say to people who purchase products from companies utilizing slave labor, one victim said, "When people eat chocolate, they are eating my flesh."
No more chocolate for me. Thanks, Coop. One less thing I can eat.
I'm going to ruin everything for you eventually. I'm trying. I want everybody to be upset
I already
like
can't
me.
eat cheese. No, I can't eat chocolate.
Of all the companies guilty of knowingly purchasing cocoa from farms which utilize slave labor, Mars, Hershey's, and Nestle are by far the most egregious offenders. Unfortunately, Nestle alone owns over 8,500 brands in 80 countries, so attempting to boycott these companies takes a little bit of work.
Yeah.
Have you had a Snickers recently?
That's my favorite candy bar.
That money goes to Mars Incorporated. Has anybody drank any Arrowhead water? Because that comes from Nestle. They don't just make chocolate. They produce snacks, drinks. You don't even really know without looking on the packaging, and sometimes it might not even be mentioned on the packaging.
Yeah, and they're not the only ones that are doing this. They're just the biggest companies that are doing it, right?
Yeah, no, they even Cadbury buys from the same farms as Nestle and Hershey.
That's so crazy.
Pretty much every major chocolate brand.
That's why corporations are fucked up, dude. It's so easy to turn a blind eye from ruining fucking everyone's life.
Yeah. To close things out, let's talk about something a little bit less depressing, specifically the most popular icon of this horrible holiday, the Valentine's Day heart. Or the Valentine's heart. Besides learning Santa Claus runs a sweatshop, seeing a real human heart for the first time is one of the most important milestones in a proper childhood. Who doesn't remember the first time they saw a schizophrenic transient ripped to pieces by a commuter train and thought to themselves, not a single piece of that twitching pile looks like a box of chocolates? So what's the deal with that? If it wasn't pried directly from our chest cavities, where does this iconic shape come from? Short answer, no fucking clue. Although historians have been searching for the answer for years, no conclusive evidence has ever been found. That doesn't mean there aren't some interesting theories, and by interesting, I mean genitalia.
Yes.
Sailors on trade routes would often spend months at sea surrounded by nothing but scurvy-ridden men. Once arriving in their port of call, the first thing on their minds was borrowing a little friction from a stranger, if you catch my drift. Unfortunately for the horny sailors, they didn't always speak the local dialect. Enterprising brothel owners knew they needed some universal symbol to promote their wares. Thankfully, the ancient equivalent of Don Draper stepped up and said, let's just put vaginas on everything. And that's what they did. Now, most women and a few guys giggling to themselves right now will know what a vulva is. And for those that don't know, the vulva is the collective term for the external portions of the lady's naughty bits, which includes the mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, clitoris, bulb vestibule, vulval vestibule, urinary meatus, greater and lesser vestibular glands, and the vaginal opening. That is a mouthful.
All my favorite parts.
If you've ever had the pleasure of getting a gander at one, you may have noticed the resemblance between a vulva and a heart. Depending on what angle you approach from, the point of the heart is either situated on the clitoris, with the labia minora forming the lobes, or with the labia majora as the lobes and the chocolate starfish at the bottom.
What's a chocolate starfish?
Butthole. It's a butthole.
Oh.
That's what I was talking about.
Dude, they should have starfish-shaped chocolate containers.
They make butthole chocolates. You can actually have a cast made of your butthole, and they make chocolates that are shaped like your butthole.
Ooh.
So they did one better. Some of the earliest instances of the classic heart icon were found on the doors of brothels. Houses of ill repute in the doomed city of Pompeii were adorned with images of female genitalia closely resembling the heart shape we know today. With the help of maritime equivalent of horny truck drivers, the image was spread to the far reaches of the globe. Early sailors would commemorate their trips to their favorite brothels by getting a tattoo of their logo, and of course, once they went home to their wives, they had some explaining to do. To cover up their lecherous misdeeds, they would tell their spouses it was a symbol of their love, not the equivalent of a Nike logo for some prostitution. Now, remember that the next time you see somebody with a heart tattoo that says mom.
I believe this story.
It's pretty convincing.
Yeah. We'll see what your the other theories are, but I'm already convinced that that's what happened.
All right, well, theory number 2, besides vaginas, the heart shape shares a suspicious similarity to another part of the human anatomy. Flip it upside down, and you've got yourself a pair of fuzzy danglers. As a symbol, testicles generally represent manhood, virility, and reproduction. Human gonads don't really look like a heart, though, so whose balls are we celebrating? Most likely bulls.
Depends on which way you hold the package.
What, are you twisting it?
The chocolate package.
Okay, that's what you're talking about. You're talking about chocolates, not balls.
Or am I?
Anyone who spent time on a ranch lopping off the testicles of livestock will probably notice they don't share many similarities with the humans. Bull's junk is free of the coarse hair most ungroomed men possess, and unless you're Joseph Merrick, they probably aren't that big. Or unless you're Joel. The shape of the testicles themselves are also more oval as opposed to the kidney shape of a dude's business.
My balls aren't big. They just look big compared to other stuff around there.
Oh, poor Neely, you're all balls.
I actually saw some bulls get their nuts cut.
Oh, really?
Some cows, like calves, baby cows. I got hired on this job to shoot like a little promotional video for this company that does that the old-fashioned way. Still.
Ooh.
So
why would they be promoting that?
To show people that they're old school. You know, it was out in the Midwest. They're like one of the last OG cattle wranglers left, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was right there, like a foot away from a dude that, like, one guy like throws the cow down, holds him down. The other one just grabs the nuts and it's like pulls the knife that's been on his belt probably since the last time he cut a cow's balls.
Ooh.
Just pulls it off, it's like whoosh, whips it out, and just goes boom.
Oh.
And then he like they pull shit out of it.
No.
Like it's not just like they cut off the balls and throw them away. Like they cut them open and off, and then they rip. It looks like intestines coming out. Like they pull all this shit out, like all the inside stuff too. Like they pull it all out. They just cut it, and they don't even sew it up or nothing. They have this spray. It's like a spray can that just glues it. And that's it. I forget what they called it. It's like some disinfectant so they don't get infections, and it heals it faster, and it glues it together.
At least hopefully there's a little bit of a painkiller in there.
Through it. The rest of it seemed humane to me. That was the only part where I was like, okay, I understand why people don't like this.
Yeah.
That thing is fucking screaming. It sounds like a person when it cries.
Yeah.
Like, come on, that's not. Anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Back to the fun stuff.
Since a bull's testicles are so much larger and more impressive than average, it wasn't long before dudes started drawing them on their livery as a symbol of strength and virility. The Corleone family of Italy even used it on their coat of arms, and eventually, being the famous romantics they were, men began using images of nutsacks as a sign of romance.
Is that for real?
Instead of balls. Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Well, you don't see people walking around in livery anymore either.
Okay.
We've progressed as a species.
Although it would be a cool t-shirt if it was just a t-shirt, like a black shirt with just two giant nuts. Bull nuts on your chest. That's saying something.
Now, out of the three theories that I have, the most convincing one comes from ancient Rome. Besides laying the foundations for municipal plumbing, democracy, and toga parties, the Romans also created one of the earliest forms of birth control. The Egyptians had also been known to use types of birth control as well, but theirs involved sticking crocodile poop inside of the vaginal cavity.
Oh, crocodile. And that's Anubis, right? Is it Anubis crocodile god?
No, Anubis was a dog.
What's the crocodile one? Assassin's Creed has
Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee. That's
Crocodile Dundee was the Egyptian crocodile deity.
I can't believe they're making a new one.
I really like Danny McBride.
I'm excited about it now.
I'm most likely going to see it. Back to our discussion about the birth control. Silphium, also known by its much cooler name laserwort, is theorized to be a member of the Ferula genus, which is a distant relative to the carrot. Nobody knows for sure because it was consumed to extinction sometime during the 2nd or 3rd century BC.
Wow. Wait, laserwort?
Laserwort.
It's a good name.
Yeah, it's even spelled like laserwort. Laserwort.
Dude, you just put that under the balls on the t-shirt.
Laserwort.
It doesn't have to make sense. 2 giant bull nuts, and then underneath it says laserwort.
That's
money.
That's a sign that you are DTF. Although the exact mechanism isn't known, historians agree that silphium was used as an all-natural version of Plan B. Silphium had a unique ability to keep orgies from turning into baby factories, and according to the legendary smart guy Pliny the Elder, it could, quote, promote menstrual discharge.
Wow.
So pretty much it would kind of induce an abortion.
I've been to Planned Parenthood before.
Really?
Yeah, I had to go there once.
Oh, that's scary.
Yep, it was scary. I started dating this girl, and all of a sudden I got all these bumps and shit on my nuts and my shaft.
Ooh.
And I was like, motherfucker. She gave me something, you know?
She was a dirty birdie.
So I went to Planned Parenthood to find out what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, it was just jock itch. And I've never been so happy with a bunch of old ladies laughing at me. They were like, try showering more.
Oh,
you know, you have jock itch.
Well, you want to know a little fact about jock itch? That's actually the same fungus that causes athlete's foot. Did somebody from the football team give you a sensual little rub down with his toes?
Yeah, no, I just hadn't showered in a while, and yeah, I'm into foot stuff.
Oh, I lost my spot. We're talking about silphium.
Yeah, we're on birth control.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So,
silphium
was so effective as a contraception that the Romans eventually scoured the entire countryside of every last plant. They ate this fucking thing to extinction because they were doing so much boning. The only evidence...
Because it made it so they didn't have to have babies.
Yeah.
Romans were on point.
They were ahead of their time. The only evidence left of its existence are old medical documents and arcade-style sex tokens. Brothels used techniques similar to a modern Chuck E. Cheese to retain customers, trading silver coinage emblazoned with the image of the silphium seed for other forms of currency.
I love Chuck E. Cheese.
Me too. I haven't been there in a long time. Well, no, the last time I went there was for like a Christmas party.
Yeah, I went there years ago when I worked at the movie theater.
It was the movie theater's Christmas party. I went to that as well.
Yeah, a long time ago.
They don't make good pizza. Oh shit, I want pizza. I'm gonna get pizza on my way home.
I can't have pizza. Don't talk about it.
I'm hungry.
Moving on.
So what does silphium have to do with a modern day Valentine's heart? Well, the seed of the plant, which were the primary source of its contraceptive properties, just so happens to be distinctly heart-shaped, or vulva-shaped, or testicle-shaped. Depends on who you ask.
They should make a birth control case that's the shape of a heart, or heart-shaped pills.
Something to stop you from having a baby shaped like a heart. That's kind of funny.
That's good. That's good shit.
To recap this episode, the box of chocolates that you gave or received is shaped like genitals and filled with the labor of enslaved children.
Yep.
Love is just a chemical reaction that can be achieved by hitting a crack pipe.
Yep.
And the Romans liked boning so much they eradicated an entire species of plant. Ain't love grand?
It's great. Love is blind.
Love is blind.
Love is blind.
Love is blind and also kind of a turd.
Yep, it's addicting, long-lasting, gives you a fucking horrible hangover.
Causes you to support child slavery.
It does horrible things.
You put a picture of a vagina on everything and give it to people.
Yep.
Doesn't make any sense.
Valentine's Day? Fuck you.
I'd say that's probably a good spot to end the episode right there.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for joining us once again as we take a joyous occasion and magically turn it into a total fucking bummer. iTunes users, please subscribe, rate, and review. It helps us out so much, and it's completely free. If you want to help us out without subscribing on iTunes or doing anything like that, just tell somebody. Tell a friend about the show. Tell your parents about the show. Tell everybody about the show. Tell strangers about it. We need people to listen to us because
just get people to listen to it.
We want the attention so bad. We need the attention.
Do it.
If you'd like to, if you want to give us your thoughts on anything we've discussed, or if you want to give us an idea for an upcoming episode topic, send us an email at iconoblastpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, seriously, if you know some famous person or an icon that you know is dirty, let us know.
We are going to run out of topics at some point, and we're going to need your help to come up with more. So please send us the ideas so we can start researching them.
Yeah.
We'd also like to thank Big Mess for the use of their song Headbone for our intro. It's also the song you're hearing right now. It's such a good band. Check out more of their music at bigmessma.bandcamp.com. And next episode, we're going to be covering either President's Day or Vikings. I'm not sure which is going to come first, but it's going to be one or the other, so stay tuned. We're going to do both eventually.
Yeah, we are.
Look forward to those.
I think we should do Vikings.
I think Vikings is going to be a lot more fun.
I need some manly men in my life right now.
Yeah, you need some manly men in you.
Talking about all these bull testicles. I need Vikings, Coop.
I need some pizza. This has been the Iconoblast Podcast. I am Matt Cooper.
I'm Joel Hodge.
Reminding you to never take anything at face value. Bye, everybody.
Later.